Riverside.
It's Friday. Pretty hot. It's the
A little
bullpen.
hot there. I still can't see you. Where's your face? What are you doing? It's coming.
I'm Tony Mack. This is Tricky Ricky. It's the bullpen. You ready? You ready for the reveal?
I think.
Oh,
Hey,
it's a
baby
three-man
alert. All
team.
right.
It's a three-man team today. On dad
Yeah.
duty at home. Ollie was a little under the weather, so couldn't keep his food down. So it's been Father Sunday at the house. So doing the podcast from home. We got a little extra voice. He'll probably start chirping here in a little bit, but it's a good way to end your week. Look at this. Look at his face.
Oh man, we're gonna cash in on some cuteness today. I mean, if we lose viewers before the baby's gone, you're cold-hearted. I mean,
That's right.
Figure it out.
You guys are ready, and we'll start talking some Friday sports.
This is a great visual. Sorry, I'm just. Let's talk about the World Series.
Well, I mean, we have the World Series. Last night it was what, Game 5? Yeah, it was Game 5 because it was tied at 2.
It was.
It was we had the World Series last night. We had Thursday Night Football last night. We got a big college football weekend starting tomorrow. I mean, it's we can fill an hour easy. And I need it, dude. I need this so bad right now. I've been humming the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse all day.
Go off, man. Vent. Let it go.
Look, I got home last week, but the wife's under the weather too. I'm fighting off whatever they've had like the plague. She puked for from 5 until about midnight and then got up and finally was able to sleep on the couch. So that means I took care of him all day yesterday, and it's a little more than normal because he hasn't been able to keep his food down. On Wednesday, he wasn't able to. Today, we gave him a little bit at a time to see if he could keep it down. So I'm feeding him every couple hours, a few ounces at a time. And then finally, I got him put to bed about 10:30. This dude does not like to go to sleep for me. He whenever I'm the opener, I'll get him really tired. I'll feed him and he'll start getting drowsy. But mom's the closer, right? And she'll hold him, put him to bed. And it's over with. It was just had to go a complete game with him, and he wasn't used to it. He didn't like it. At 7 o'clock, he went down for 10 minutes, 10 minutes, just enough time for me to heat up my dinner. He was done for 10 minutes, woke back up, fed him a few times, not to go to sleep for the night. He goes down about 10 o'clock onto him for, 5-10 minutes just to make sure he gets completely out before I put him in his bassinet. About 5 minutes in, I looked down at him and he nice little smile, and then immediately just started screaming. I don't know. I had to figure what that was about. Just guess he had a bad dream.
I was going to say, what does that mean?
No clue. Normal, like when he was younger, he's only 5 months old, but it was a tummy ache. But now he's done that every now and then, and it's typically like just a bad dream. He doesn't know where he is, and once he saw me and I stood up, he was fine.
Wow.
But
what do you think a bad dream for a 5-month-old is?
He's sick and Jen's sick, he gets a little more screen time than he's supposed to. So he's watched like a lot of Mickey yesterday, and the pediatrician's screen time's not good right now. So that probably caused. We had to. We tried Cocoa Melon for 2 days, a couple months ago, and that's when it started. That's when his screaming in the middle of the night started.
So like King Kong versus Godzilla, you got Cocoa Melon and like Goofy. Big stomping over the house and fighting, or is I don't even know if he has the concept of fights yet. I would be so intrigued to know what a 5-month-old nightmare is.
Right. Have you ever watched Cocoa Melon?
I don't know what Cocoa Melon is. Is Cocoa Melon a person? Is that a show? It's a
show
on the show?
I honestly don't know if it's a person or not. It's just like a bunch of songs.
If a guy like me is seen watching Cocoa Melon, then usually the cops get called. So it's not a thing that I do.
The main characters are these very weird looking babies.
Okay.
They're like newborns, but they walk and move and around and talk. So it's very weird.
They're little adult babies.
Kinda. It gave him nightmares. So we don't do the Cocoa Melon.
That would give me nightmares. So I don't blame him. You got little grown baby human hybrids running around. That's terrifying.
Even though I'm at home, the text window is still open. 256-434-1366, 256-434-13. NFL Insider's already blasting on that text window. He says, Coco Melon gives me nightmares. Not as bad as Blicky. Not as So he hasn't
I'm
done
Googling Coco Melon right now, too, and it looks so playful on the surface, but those babies got way too big of heads, man. I don't like it.
It hypnotizes him immediately. Like, he's in. But when he goes to sleep, it's a whole different thing. So Coco Melon, I can't. Your mom said, no, your mom squashed that. We can't do Coco Melon. He's
like, nah, I don't want to do no Coco Melon either, brah. You seen that?
He's got Mr. Fox. So he's
sweet.
He's but yeah, man, so taking care of him, trying to work from home. I'm not off today. I'm working from home. I've done plenty of work today while also trying to take care of him. And all I've heard in the background, in between him screaming, he's just learned how to go. So he's been doing that all morning. But in between hearing that, Mickey Mouse, Top House, come and funny time. Yeah, dude. I know all of that.
That's
like when they need him. When they get
when
stuck.
do your nightmares hit? Are your nightmares pretty brutal too?
I'm living a walking nightmare right now. This is my nightmare. Not being with him, but the night, dude. Everything.
My life is a nightmare.
I'm on the phone, like it's ringing, and I'm risking like going, oh, Toodles, right before they answer the phone. Like it's a whole thing.
That's rough.
Toodles comes in and they get their Mouskatool. It's a whole thing.
When I worked in, morning radio on a top 40 radio station, before I'd go in, I'd be brushing my teeth and humming the tunes of Justin Bieber, and it made me question who I was. I'm like, who am I becoming? What is this? I'm singing Despacito while I scrub my incisors. This is weird.
We've some childhood shows though, because of him and having Disney. We've what have we found? And then some, I don't know where she was streaming Blue's Clues, but this morning it was Blue's Clues when I got home from getting my
old school, new school. What are we talking about?
Oh, old school. OG, Steve.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How many kids Salt and Pepper got? That's how I gauge it. Salt and Pepper got like one kid, 3.
A kid, the episode I was on. It was.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah, cool. It's OG. As OG as OG can go. So.
When Salt and Pepper started reproducing, I said, this
that's not real. It's not even realistic anymore.
How could Salt and Pepper possibly create paprika? I don't know.
Someone didn't do the research, obviously. Clearly.
No. It's ridiculous. I saw the other day, Salt and Pepper got like 4 kids now. Sage, cinnamon. It's just a spice rack. They're giving birth to a spice rack, and it doesn't. The genealogy doesn't match up. I want an ancestry in me for Salt and Pepper.
And he said, how can Salt and Pepper give birth to Kyle? Hey, there goes Blue. He just jumped into another picture. But anyway, like
I've never salted a hamburger and then finished with a little pepper and had it caramelize into cinnamon as I grill it. That's not a thing. So maybe I'm taking Blue's Clues a little too serious.
Yeah. This morning, Bear in the Big Blue House. He did a little of that yesterday. PB and J Otter. Yeah.
Have you thought about maybe just showing him sports? Sports don't give me nightmares unless it's...
He loves sports. He's been watching baseball since he was born. Like that's right when he gets fussy. I'll hold him like this, like kind of like how he's sitting in my arms, and we'll face the TV, and he'll locked in, and he knows when it's on too. Whenever the game goes to commercial, he'll start looking back around. He's zoned back in. He knows when the sport's on. He likes baseball more than anything. He likes football. Loves baseball.
No more Coco Melon. Only Coco Crisp. All right. Let's start getting the man on more baseball. We got to get him going.
Is Coco Crisp even in the league anymore?
No, he's not, but he's the closest ball player I can think of in my head that relates to the name Coco Melon.
One of the best.
Sandy Koufax doesn't quite roll off the tongue like, Coco Crisp.
Less Coco Melon, a little more Bryce Hart.
Yeah, see, it just
doesn't roll.
Hit that pop.
Dude, Coco is one of the best names in all of sports history, by the way. Coco Crisp.
It's all right. Makes you sound like a cereal.
It's all right. That's the fact that that's a real person isn't.
Kool-Aid McKinstry, man. There's a lot of them out there.
I think Kool-Aid is less exotic than his actual name.
What is his real name?
Jakinstry.
Jakinstry McKinstry is his name?
Nah, maybe I might be wrong there. It's
I was gonna say I don't think dude's name is Jakinstry
It's
McKinstry.
Hold on, I'll get you. Jaquincy. Excuse me, Jaquincy.
Jaquincy McKinstry. Oh, that's pretty good though too.
Jaquincy McKinstry. Thank you. I knew it was something like that. It was close. I wasn't too far off.
Whenever your kid adopts a nickname as their permanent full-time name, you messed up on giving them a name. If little Oliver starts calling himself Chips Ahoy or something, like he's done.
You know what Tank Bigsby's real name is?
Higsby. Higsby Bigsby.
Bigsby. Cartavius.
No, that's a cool name, dude. Cartavius Bigsby. But if you're going to have a name like Cartavius and then get a nickname, you got to have something even cooler, which is Tank. Whoa, breaking news. What's going on here? Is this a burping?
No. Often.
You just little
standing
pat
up
on the back there?
Yeah.
Does he have a concussion or is that a back/ankle injury? Are we good?
Back ankle.
Okay, good.
He cleared protocol this morning. We're good. We're fine.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. But speaking
cool,
of,
man, I'm glad we got to dive a little bit into your life as a father. Let's go into sports, eh?
Well, yeah. I mean, you brought up Coco Crisp and him not being in the league anymore. I brought up Bryce Harper, who's currently in the World Series.
He is.
Last night, and I'll be honest, that game had me. I was in and out of it because I was taking care of him, but I had it on and I got to watch. He finally fell asleep in the 8th inning, so I got to watch him like intently. And I was on pins and years off of my life, and I'm not even pulling for anyone in this World Series. I hate the Phillies, and I really don't care much for the Astros. I like Dusty Baker. That's about the only thing I can do. I really. Other than that, I don't care who wins this World Series, and I was on pins and needles. It was a really enjoyable baseball game.
It's been a fantastic series, man. I think it's doing a lot to grab the casual baseball fans and make them think maybe, I could be a little more than casual. I mean, the emotion you see from Philly and their fans and everything, and then seeing Verlander on the mound last night get his first World Series win out there.
How about that? Can we start cheering for?
I know,
for
right? When I saw that, I was like, "That's his first World Series win in his career." I couldn't believe it.
Hit the button.
Huh? What, excuse? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Here we go. Jeez. Hey.
How
about the production value of this thing right here? Huh?
Verlander. I mean that stat was amazing. I knew that because I saw that being a big conversation around it. And his ERA, not just that he's had bad luck in the World Series either. His ERA in the World Series before last night was over 6. So he's big stage. So it was great to see him get that win last night. Philly had an awesome opportunity to tie that up last night. In fact, I thought that ball that was hit in the 9th inning up, but there was an incredible catch at the wall. And after that, a couple of really good at-bats that kept you in the game. However, one thing I couldn't take my eye off the whole game. After I zoned in and locked in, probably the 5th inning is when I flipped it on. I was watching a little Thursday Night Football, and I couldn't help it. Kyle Schwarber, he's lefty. He's standing in there. He's 6 foot. He's a little taller than me. And the home plate umpire is towering over Kyle Schwarber. Just towers over. Every time he stands up, didn't think anything of it till he stood up. And you see Schwarber, catcher, umpire. Who is this guy? This guy's mad. So I'm like, maybe Kyle, during that at bat, I Googled Kyle Schwarber's. Maybe Kyle's a little shorter than I think. Maybe he's like 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot. Like, okay, that's pretty tall. Maybe it's just like a camera trick. And then the next guy comes. I can't remember his name. I think it was Hensley. They came up to the plate, and I Googled Hensley. He's listed at 6'6", and this umpire still has 2-3 inches on him. shoulder. And I'm, oh my gosh, who is this? So I go on, you can name on the box score on ESPN. So I scrolled down and Justin Baker is, I think, his name, and he's listed at 6'7". Dude's massive.
Dude, I thought it was Richie Sexton back there. You remember him? He used to play for the Brewers back in the day, big tall guy. I was like, was this his post game career? Did he become an umpire? Because this dude got some serious measurables right now. Yeah, and then when I saw him next to Schwarber, I'm like, Schwarber ain't a little guy. I mean, he's not a giant, but
no, but he's not
be a grown
Altuve.
man just towering over him right there.
He kind of looked. It made him look like Altuve. Jordan Baker's his name. I said Justin. I saw something when I looked him up yesterday that I thought was interesting. I didn't read into it, but it said Jordan Christopher Baker is an American umpire, 6'7". He's the tallest active MLB umpire. Baker gained attention during the 2013 season for throwing wads of chewed gum onto the outfield grass.
Oh my gosh! So he just had a pile out there by the end of the game, huh?
Who's going to tell him to stop? That's like going out there. Open the window right now and yell at Chuck and tell him to do anything.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Yeah, Chuck, our groundskeeper, he's like 6'7", dude. Yeah, I'm surprised that there isn't a height requirement for umpires. They need more guys with this kind of size. I mean, you know how hard it would be to argue with an umpire when you got to do that. Hey man, you kidding me on that call? You know, like you can't. It's hard to look cool when you know what you did right there. Okay, you're not getting in that man's face. And then if he doesn't like what you're doing, you might give him the little, he's doing the little man move on you. You can't have that. His more giants an umpire.
His ejection rate has to be the lowest in Major League. Has to be.
No one's challenging.
You're exactly right. Nobody's going out there to argue that. You might get somebody that thinks that's a crap call, and then they look up there and goes, he's probably right. That was probably a strike. You're right.
I don't know this for sure, but I imagine he has spurs on the back of his umpire shoes. And he kind of just clinks his way out there.
He doesn't walk anywhere in a hurry. He's on Jordan time for sure.
Doesn't even wear a chest protector either. He just bounces him off that massive chest plate he's got.
That's right.
He's just taking him straight to the sternum. And anyway, if you're going to hit him in the chest, you're going to have to you're going to be Rick Ankiel back in the day when he was just wild thing Rick Vaughn-ing it up there.
Oh my God. Dude, he was taller than Justin Verlander on the mound.
Yeah. You got to have an armor-plated cup, though, if you're going to be that tall. You got to have a military-grade athletic cup.
Dude is massive, dude. So that stood out to me last. I couldn't believe talking about this guy. Maybe I've missed the conversation since he's been an umpire in Major League Baseball. But oh my God, that guy stood out like a sore thumb. So
he's a big old dude, man. But Philly, I thought, man, I almost got my prediction right. I almost got my prediction right. And I called the exact games. Philly in 1, Astros in 2, Philly on the next 3. And that dang Chas McCormick or whatever, he wasn't having it. So I think Real Muto thought he hit that ball out of the ballpark as well. A lot of people did. And
I thought it was gone.
It figures, though. I mean, I picked the Phillies almost perfectly, and in true Phillies fashion, they devastate me. So
is it
whatever. Let's see what Phillies up 3-2.
No, Houston's up 3-2.
Oh yeah. Wait, is that no? No, Phillies are up 3-2 because I almost got it. I almost called it last night. That would have been 4-1.
No, Houston's up 3-2.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it was tied 2-2.
All right, yeah, you're right. Whatever. I almost had it though.
I was gonna let you talk.
I think it goes to Game 7. New prediction. That old one was trash. We don't even. That doesn't matter. New prediction. Phillies win Game 6. Astros win Game 7, which means the Phillies will win both games and win the World Series. So
that's not a terrible prediction. in Game 6 at home in the World Series aren't that great. I could see it going to a game.
Is that a little Braves?
No, it was actually something they brought up during the game last night. Because remember in 2019 when they played Washington, they've been the series in 6 years. 2017 they won in 7 against the Dodgers. In 2019 they lost in 7 to the series. The road team won every single game. So the Nationals won the first 2 in Houston, and Houston won the next 3 in Washington, and then Washington won the next 2 games 6 and 7 in Houston, and then the Braves won game 6 to clinch it last year. So I don't think they've won they've lost at least 2 game 6s, and I'm willing to bet in 17 they lost that game 6 at home as well. So
interesting. Okay. Well, speaking of Houston, Philly won, but Houston won too because the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, get the W against some Houston Texans. How weird is that Houston plays Philly in football the same night they play each other in the World Series in baseball?
And what makes it even more nuanced is Jalen Hurts is the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback from Houston. He's a Houston Astros fan. He's been to Philly games too. I'm just curious, how that dynamic is, because the Eagles won last night. They're 8-0. Everybody's happy. I'm sure they don't care who Jalen's pulling for in the World Series, but the Astros beat the Phillies. I don't know.
Well, Jalen Hurts, as an Astros fan and Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, was the only person that went undefeated amongst people among him, I would think. Like I told you, as long as Philly wins, they're not going to care at all who he roots for. He could take at bat for the Astros, and they would still have no problem with him at all. Jalen Hurts is just one of those guys, and I have been down on him for so long, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I mean, he's just one of those guys that no matter what happens, finds a way to succeed. I mean, no matter what, it's like magic. The guy just finds a way to have that movie star smile and just play it cool and keep getting W's. And he's using the MJ celebration now on things because he's not the real rah-rah type. So whenever anything good goes, he just goes crazy.
Look, I've been so wrong on him as a pro quarterback so far, but if there's any prediction I've made wrong, this is the one that I'm probably the happiest about, because God, do I love Jalen Hurts as a person, man. I mean, he always seems so genuine. There's a guy that, like, as for 1 year that I want to root for. I didn't have a lot of faith in the NFL as a player, but I wanted to root for him because of the leadership quality that he has. The one guy that that played at Oklahoma that I feel obligated to root for, that I want to, is Kyler Murray. Never really cared for him as a leader. But, man, I want Jalen Hurts to succeed so badly, and he's doing I didn't think he would, and he's doing such a great job this year with the Eagles so far. They're 8-0 now. And I'll be honest, good or bad Houston team, that's the team that I thought they were going to, like, if they were going to lose their first game, that's the one, because everybody looks to the big games, teams that are playing well, and any team in the NFL can beat you on any given day. However, is it wrong for me to say, even though they're 1-6-1 now, or 1-7-1, I don't think Houston's all that bad.
I don't either. And
really
that was without Brandon Cooks, who didn't want to play because he wasn't traded. And I want to go play on a good team. Whatever. You're not getting traded. The deadline's over, so you might as well just leg it out. But I guess with injuries and stuff like that, you got to think about that. But even without Cooks, you got Dameon Pierce, a rookie running back. He's out there bouldering dudes. No one can tackle him. Davis Mills is not real bad either. And then the rest of their guys, they're doing their job, man.
Oh, he almost figured it out. So he's been doing this thing where he's taking the pacifier out of his mouth. He only gets it when he's about to fall asleep. He doesn't like it at any other time. He'll pull it out of, try to put it back in, but he never can. He just did that for the first time.
Did we just witness a landmark moment right here?
We did. Good job, dude.
Hey, you know what that deserves? Let's get a little clapping going, huh? Hey.
That's for you.
There you go, buddy.
You did that.
He did the old give and go. It was his first time ever. He just gave himself an assist.
Well, he just ditched it for his...
Man. Just days after one of the greatest assist men of all time, Steve Nash, fired by the Nets. Here's your kid picking up right where he left off.
And then Kyrie got suspended for at least 5 games.
That whole team's a mess.
Look, if there is a topic that I'm the least educated about in sports right now, it's the Kyrie Irving thing. Like, I know that he retweeted some kind of like book or something that and he was accused of promoting something that contained a ton of anti-Semitism, but I haven't looked into it at all. I honestly just Kyrie Irving at all is exhausting, so I don't.
Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets are just kind of on mute in my life. You know, like anytime you hear about Kyrie, it's like, oh, he thinks the earth's flat, or he hates the media, or he doesn't want to play. He wants to get out of here. I hate my coach. I'm supporting movies that might be anti-Semitic. It's like, you ever heard like, hey, Kyrie had a pretty good night last night on the court? I think that's never. Did you see Kyrie put up 30 and 12? No. Mm-mm. No, did you hear about Kyrie? He's digging a hole to China. What? Why would he do that? That's not even feasible. You're going to run into the Earth's core. Nah, he's doing it, man. He's going to do it. It's a clown show over there, man.
Disaster. So,
what sport to like the NBA? What are they like? 11 games into the season, and there's already a coach getting fired. Like, yeah, that's the equivalent of coaching like one NFL game and then getting fired at halftime of game number 2. Like, it's crazy.
To nuance it even further, what's even crazier is that they fire Steve Nash and they're already rumored to be hiring Ime Udoka, the guy who's currently suspended from the Celtics. I don't think he ever got fired, did he? He was just for the year.
No, they just said, you just go over there. We don't want you in front of people. We're going to wait for everyone to forget that you're hooking up with the office. We're not going to do it. And then they were like, you know what? Second thoughts, that having a coach just sit in a room for a year makes no sense. Get out of here. And then the Nets were like, he hasn't been with anybody in our front office. Get over here, Ime. You're our coach now. We're ready to go. It's like Kareem Hunt, man, when he was with the Chiefs. And they said, no, we can't handle your issues. You're out of here. And the Browns were like, did you say issues? Ain't had any issues over here. Get on over here. And then they get to take advantage of having Kareem Hunt. It's like, you just go to the next spot, I guess. Whatever the scandal is, whatever. I didn't do it over there. I'll just go over here. Urban Meyer. Ugh.
Hey, how about Kareem Hunt, too, by the way? Like, I know that has kind of died down, but whenever he pops up for Cleveland something, and there were Nick Chubb, people will bring that up. Like, it's sick that they went and got him. How great is it for Kareem Hunt that they got Deshaun Watson? How great is that for him? Because now you have that trouble to worry about.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great.
It's a perfect fit because Cleveland fans, it seems, they have no standard for themselves. Like they poke fun saying that he's innocent and all this stuff and making gross props for the games and stuff. I don't. It happens with them if they go on a downhill trajectory. I mean, so
there's generations of Browns fans that have dealt with being a loser for a very long time, and as that happens, that wears on your mind, and you go, we will take a murderer if they can throw for 300 a game. Like, whatever, just bring the guy on. And it's not great, but at the end of the day, man, wins heal all, right? Is that how to say it? Something like that? Victory heals everything, or whatever. I think it was Ralph Waldo Emerson.
They announced him their starter for the December 4th game when he comes back. That's
of course, in Houston, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
That'll be a primetime game, I'm sure.
On the text window, 256-434-1366. What does Ollie think of Houston's chances winning the next game at home in the World Series? What do you think? Houston going to close it out? What's that, tomorrow? They going to close it out tomorrow? Yeah, we'll convene with each other. He's nervous when the. What do you think? Is Houston going to close it out tomorrow?
This kid's got bad camera etiquette, man.
He's smiling. He's smiling. They going to close it out tomorrow? Is that something? It's looking pretty good. He's smiling pretty hard. Yeah. Jose Altuve? Cheaters? Yeah. Oh, that's a low blow. Dusty Baker?
Oh, he was getting excited about Dusty Baker. I've never seen a 5-month-old react to Dusty Baker quite like that.
Dusty Baker.
I don't think Dusty Baker's own grandchildren quite react to Dusty. Oh. Astros win Game 6. It's in the books. I've seen enough.
Looks like
there's something there.
Game 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's smiling real big. I wish I can get him to smile real hard at me.
Well, I don't know if he's aware of how cameras and stuff work yet, right?
Well,
I mean, you guys.
He only knows.
Is that an episode of Coco Melon? Do they go over live streaming or podcasting yet?
Stop saying that so loud. I'm gonna get in trouble. Stop. He's not allowed to watch.
Coco Melon.
All right. I'll talk to you guys on Monday. I gotta go.
Mickey Mouse.
Oh God. I'm sorry. It's not real. It's not real. Thanks a lot, dude.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
I'm not gonna be not allowed to watch football this weekend. That'd be a bummer, dude. This is the first college football Saturday this year that I've been really, really excited. Like from Monday, that I've been really excited to watch. Like
I hear you, dude.
I mean, you got Tennessee, Georgia. Even though the 11 a.m. games stink, you got Tennessee, Georgia at 2:30, and then Alabama, LSU at 7. Top 2. Cannot wait.
I'm pumped. I think the Tennessee Vols beat another team that they're an underdog to. Another blue blood of the SEC. I think Tennessee beats Georgia. Going to be a wild invite. Now, we've debated a lot about this. Mm-hmm. All right. We've got our Danger Witch bet riding on it.
It's on the line.
Loser has to buy the both of us a Danger Witch from Subway and then look at the person behind the counter. I believe they are called sandwich artists. Look that person in the eyes and say, "Can I get some extra danger on that?"
I don't have to smolder
and
like
actually
that,
get the sandwiches. So
this is
big time.
We don't have to smolder. We just have to ask. You get
the smolders, but
no, that wasn't
extra danger. You got to shoot a blue steel at them. You got to shoot it. You got to hit them with La Tigre real quick. Be like, "You mind if I get a little extra danger on that?"
I've still never seen.
And then hold it till the danger gets sprinkled. Till they sprinkle that danger dust on there.
I don't think I want to eat the danger dust. What do you think? No,
coward.
So this, the one thing I did not expect to see discussed when it came to this game was the people questioning Georgia's atmosphere and how overrated that. A lot of people that have gotten in on this, some big Twitter personalities people rally at. Big Game Boomer agrees with the person that made this statement. What's the Barstool guy's name? Brandon something another Walker, or what was his name?
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't. He's the one who originally I saw him liked the tweet, and then it all stemmed from Eric Ainge, his tweet. He said, "Playing between the hedges is overrated. Not that loud and definitely not intimidating. It's nothing like playing in Neyland. Vols will be just fine in that." I mean, there's one game that jumps in. I disagree with that. You remember we talked about it for like 2-3 weeks last year. You remember when Arkansas went to Georgia last year?
I do.
And backed up by the end zone, and they couldn't get a playoff because they were so rattled by that atmosphere.
I mean, I'm putting more on that Georgia, generational defense as to why Arkansas looked like they were terrified against that team. I mean, the crowd was loud. There's no question about it. They're going to be the loudest they've been all year. It's a huge game. But Sanford Stadium's not built for sound, man. They got that big opening over by the video board. It's not a Neyland Stadium that's all the way around. It's not a Kyle Field with 107,000. It's not Death Valley. It's not even Bryant-Denny. I mean, Bryant-Denny's all the way around. Sanford's got the big opening, man. And as a sound engineer myself, that's going to make a difference. That's why Ainge is saying that, man. That's not a place that people have ever said, like, "Oh, I'm terrified to go into Sanford Stadium." It's the same kind of way with Alabama, too. No one says, like, they're terrified of Bryant-Denny, but at least they got 100 and something thousand. This one's got 90 something in the opening. It's not going to be as loud, I'm telling you. And the bushes, there's bushes in there. That softens the noise. That absorbs noise. They're doing themselves a disservice with all the foliage.
Being a sound engineer yourself, how do you guys test those things? How do you know that the sound just bounces off a bush? Do you have like a shrubbery?
When Toyota Field was being built out here in preparation for the Trash Pandas first season, I had decibel levels in every shrub, chrysanthemums, crepe myrtles, all of them, to see how the sound worked in there, to see, because we thought about maybe we line the warning track with bushes instead of dirt. Maybe we do something different, and Wrigley Field's got the ivy on the outfield wall. It'd be cool if we were the only team that instead of a warning track just had bushes around the entire ballpark. But after I did the decibel reads, I noticed, I said, this won't make sense. This is going to kill our noise. We can't have it. So that's why you see the traditional look you have today. And it's clear that Georgia didn't put any thought into that when they built their stadium.
Well, I like the point you made about how when you go to a place like Georgia, especially with Kirby as the coach, it's similar to Alabama in the sense it's not the crowd that's intimidating, it's the team you're playing, because they're going to be that you're going to see on your schedule. And even in the SEC, when you have a tougher schedule than most other teams are going to have, when you play Alabama and Georgia, you're facing the two most talented teams, two of the at least top.
Something to think too is like Georgia now at this championship, Alabama, like these teams that are regularly at the top, when they play a team like Tennessee that's not normally there, but they look dangerous, the fans get tight. The players sometimes get tight. I mean, Nick Saban even said that against Tennessee. Like, his players did not have the same emotion before that game that they do most games. And he's looking around like, what's happening here? And your players start to think like, man, we can't lose to this team because we are traditionally better than this group. But that doesn't necessarily mean this year you are. And I think if you're a Georgia fan, you know that this team is not as good as last year's team. Even though they're being hailed as being just as good, they're not. And Tennessee is significantly better than they were last year. They look good. And I think a lot of those fans are going to be kind of tight. If there's a little bit of adversity or Tennessee gets an early lead, everyone's going to kind of be going like, oh no, is this going to happen to us too? Right or wrong?
I think there's some truth to that for sure. The point you make, but I think that part of that tightness from Alabama, really getting into that moment when you're like, oh my gosh, now like we're in a position where we can lose to this team and we're better than this. We can't lose to this team. That is also magnified by Knoxville, and they had 100,000 Knoxvillians, Tennessee fans. This one's going to be in Georgia, so I don't know when that tightness can happen. I just don't know when, like at what point it happens. Because if Tennessee's up like 7-3 early or something like that, it's not going to start then. Because I mean, you're at home, and and you can correct me if I'm wrong. We'd have to go back and look it up, but it just feels like this year, the kind of players that give Tennessee the biggest trouble, or at least produce the big highlight plays anyway, are tight ends. I feel like if you go back to their bowl game last year, was it Purdue they played in a bowl game? They had the top over and had a huge game when they beat Tennessee. This year, tight end hurdle someone against Tennessee, beat them pretty good. What does Georgia have? And the best tight end group in the country. You got Darnell Washington, who's like 6'7". You've got Brock Bowers, who's going to be a big problem. I really think plenty of points. So I don't see a point where and gets to that tightness level.
I'd call timeout, sir.
Okay.
I'm going to use my first.
All right.
Did you just tell me a tight end for Purdue jumped over a guy on Tennessee last year, and that's half the reason why you think tight ends are going to have a good game in this?
What happened in the bowl game?
I just heard.
Bowl game, and then
I'm a sound engineer. I can tell when I'm hearing certain things, and that's exactly what it sounded like.
It happened in the bowl game, and then this year Pitt did the same thing at the beginning of the year. Even when they had the backup quarterback in there, tight end was given to be trend with a Josh Heupel team. Not very all over the place. Not
is that
very
a trend?
Good. Front seven's good. The secondary is not very good, and they've got some stats that kind of hide that a little with takeaways and turnovers. Tennessee's opportunistic on defense, but they're still not all that great. They give up almost 400 yards a game, which is bottom 4 in the SEC. They give up 300 passing yards a game, which is in the SEC, and that includes 450 yards to Anthony Richardson for more than 150 in any other game this year. So the secondary is just not all that. Georgia's going to be able to score with Tennessee, I think. Tennessee's going to be able to score because their offense is just that good, and Georgia's going to have trouble stopping it. Georgia's going to be able to score because I don't think.
We'll find out. It's going to be a great one. I can't wait for it. And if
I
got to order extra danger, I'm going to be so just personally defeated.
You want to know why I feel so so much confidence on this prediction? Is because this Oklahoma team, or it's Freudian slip, this Tennessee team reminds me a lot of when Oklahoma. And that's especially in 2018. And Tennessee's defense is. But in 2018, Kyler Murray wins a Heisman Trophy because he scores all these touchdowns, and Tua was putting up the same amount of touchdowns in like only the first half because he was out of the game at halftime. But every single touchdown for Kyler Murray, the defense stunk so bad. It seems like that way in the sense that the defense isn't good, but they have some things that go their way sometimes, like the 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021 for Oklahoma. The defenses weren't ever good, but they would always get some lucky breaks. The front seven always had some dudes that were good, but as a whole unit, so they would have some things go their way to help them win games. When they got into big games, it fell apart. It worked out for Tennessee and against Alabama this year, but going on the road to Georgia, I think you're going to see a lot of 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021 Oklahoma come out on the defensive side of the ball, and it's going to be a shootout.
I'm even more confident about my Tennessee pick after hearing that. Everything you're basing your confidence on is on a Purdue team in a bowl game last year and the 2018 Oklahoma Sooners. I love it. Yeah.
There are some similarities there in how Tennessee is great offense.
Any Big 12 team of the 2010s had a good offense and a bad defense. You compare them to anybody.
No, that great. It wasn't a good offense. That Oklahoma offense was great, just like this Tennessee offense is.
That Oklahoma team got smoked in the playoff. I don't know if great would be the word.
The offense was great.
And they're not Georgia. So, there's that.
Who's not Georgia?
Do you need to be burped? Are you okay?
Yeah, I think I'd need.
Do we need another hand back there? Do we need someone burping you while you're burping the kid?
I'm just saying, man, you're giving the most talented team in the country home field advantage, lower ranking. I mean,
the most talented team in the.
At least one of them, top 2 talented team in the country. There's no debate on that.
No, they're very good. I don't know, man. I think they're going to be tight, but we'll see. What do you think, LSU, Alabama? Because I know myself. I was thinking about it in the car ride over today.
Mm-hmm.
I said, how's this Alabama game going to go? It's at LSU. I don't like how they handle loud crowds. It seems like it takes forever for their play calls to get in, and if they make one adjustment, they're flirting with a delay a game. And then when they're not doing that, someone's jumping off sides, and then you got a false start penalty. And I think there's going to be issues there, but still, I think this Alabama team is getting better, especially at the position of cornerback. And it's appropriate that they're playing LSU this weekend because I think Eli Ricks is going to have an amazing game. I'm saying it right now. Eli Ricks, pick 6. Now, this is an Alabama team that has few turnovers. I think they've got maybe one defensive touchdown, and that was against UL Monroe. So take that for what it's worth. Eli Ricks played amazing last week. Now he's got the revenge game against his former team. You got Kool-Aid on the other side that teams are scared of. Eli might get him. I mean, if anyone's going to be scared of Eli Ricks, it's going to be LSU because they know how good he is. But he's going to see some passes, and they're going to have to air it out if they want to beat Alabama. I think that guy has a great game. I think Alabama wins. What's the spread? It's like 12 or 13?
It was 12.5 to open. I don't know what it is right now.
Ooh.
Dude, let me just stop.
I think they win by 11.
Your prediction is so boring and fun to sleep. You see this? You literally.
Oh, well, the reason why I'm so confident is because this team reminds me a lot of the 1947 Army Golden Knights. And I say that because, I mean, what do you want me? You want me to make some comparisons? Would that be better?
I personally would love to hear those comparisons.
Okay. All right.
So
this Alabama team reminds me of that first Texas Tech Red Raiders team Mike Leach had with Sonny Dykes back in the day. You remember that? You remember that team? No? No? Oh. Well, I still have the pick. I feel confident. Alabama by 11.
I actually agree. I think Alabama can win by bigger. I think LSU's got improved enough this year to where that they can make it a game, especially Alabama struggles on the road, period. But the fact that it's Death Valley at night, I think makes a huge difference. And again, LSU themselves as a team has improved so much that I think that they can. I do not think they can win this football game. I think that they can hang around the spread Alabama by 17 or more.
I don't think LSU can win it. I think Alabama can lose it. They've been their biggest enemy this year, especially on the road with the penalties, the turnovers. Ugh. If Alabama can just play a game and be disciplined, I think they win this one easy. But if they go out there and have the penalties they had against Tennessee, if they go out and have the turnovers like they did against Texas A&M, they might find themselves in a position like in that Texas A&M game where they had no business even being close. It should have ended with a shutout, the way that Texas A&M offense was playing. But instead, it came down to the last play of the game, which if it were a better pass, maybe it's a different result.
Yeah. I don't. The thing I am intrigued about in that game is the fact that it's in Death Valley. But you talked about Eli Ricks. Eli Ricks going up against. I almost said Jamar Chase. Why did I do that?
You looking for your dude Booty?
Booty. It's Booty.
Is it Booty? I noticed that people have switched to the pronunciation of Booty now. But normally when guys have last names that sound like they should be pronounced one way, and that way's funny, they'll announce it the other way. Like if any guy's name is spelled Wiener, they'll call him Weiner or something. You know, they will go out of their way to not say Wiener. And so I'm surprised that we've gone from Booty to Booty.
Is there an athlete named Wiener that I need to know about?
No, his name's Weiner because you never hear him called the other way.
We've been calling him Boutte for 2 years, and he said in the preseason, he said it. So, and
well, that's good to find out.
It's the beginning of the year.
So
did
we as a whole apply a Cajun way to say his last name when there was no Cajun involved at all? We just call him Boutte.
We've earned it. We've earned Lundqvist it very, very hard.
We did.
He always.
Calebon Clayson.
You can just call me Clay. That's just.
I remember they had that one kicker. His last name was Delahousse. You remember him? Colby Delahousse.
There was one, but because LSU always have those players, there was one where a normal name that Vern turned into a Cajun name. What it was. I would say he was a special teamer. I can't remember. But that's what he did.
Jordan Jefferson. I don't know.
Jamar Chauncey. Look at that.
That's
this.
Good. What? Is that your baby? Yeah. You're kind of blurry on my end. Sorry. I think it's coming through on the stream a lot better. But as far as is he just chilling? Did my Alabama prediction just straight knock him out?
He's out cold, dude.
That's what I expect the LSU defense to look like in the fourth quarter. Just beaten up, had enough. And another point I did not make about that game is I think Bryce Young is back to throwing in practice. He hasn't been throwing in practice for weeks. I didn't know that until this week.
Yeah, because he's been all shaken up. Oh, dude, speaking of that, oh my gosh, I've completely forgot about this. And I know we only have like 10 minutes left. We could talk about this so much longer. But Mel Kiper, I mean, this dude has to have the same agent as Will Levis. Like they have to share the same. Oh my God, dude! It's not. It's how he explained it the other day. Made no sense to me at all. And I didn't pull it for Ricky to play because I didn't think about it till just now. But he
gonna
gave
find
out
it
his
for
big
you.
board yesterday or the day before, and he has Will Levis ranked, I think, number 2 overall behind Will Anderson. Higher than C.J. Stroud. He's higher than Bryce Young, and then I think that he was higher than. And his explanation, Anthony Richardson, I think, was in his top 5. His explanation of it was just as mind blowing. It was that Bryce Young's frame is too small. He's 90 pounds. He doesn't think that'll be able to survive. He's clutch. He's a point guard, all that stuff. But I just think he'll be injury prone. As I think Clint shared it, Bryce Young has only missed the same amount of games the last 2 years as Will Levis has. 1 game due to injury. 1. And lingering. It feels like this injury he's going through right now is just the same lingering one. It's not like 2 in a bunch of different ways. It's like a lingering thing for Bryce. Eventually will get healed up when the season's over. I
mean, the guy had a shoulder injury that should have knocked him out for weeks.
Yeah.
And I mean, for a lot of weeks. And what did he miss? 2 games?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, Quinn Ewers had a shoulder injury just like that. He was out for a month.
And then, good point. And then he went on to say that he's not like, he doesn't have a frame like Kyler Murray that can sustain the NFL. Am I missing something here? Kyler Murray's 5'10", 195 pounds.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he's listed at.
Yeah, right. I think he's really 5'8".
Like 190, 195 pounds.
It blows my mind, dude. By the way, he posted 2 hours ago his updated QB rankings. He says Anthony Richardson at 4, Bryce Young at 3, Will Levis at 2, C.J. Stroud at 1. How many of these quarterbacks who don't even make like any noise in college football, but then come to the draft rankings are right up in there? How many of these dudes are going to get picked before that trend runs out? Like, when has anyone ever thought Will Levis bona fide, got to get him top 10 pick NFL quarterback, especially over Bryce Young?
That came out of nowhere in the offseason. And what blows my mind about it is when that happened, people we know that saw that, and when they see that, instead of reacting like well, that's dumb, why is that? They try to jump on the trend and go, oh, well, I can understand why they had it that way. They don't want to feel dumb, and they don't want to call out the whatever. But when they see that, they're like, oh, I mean, if you look at his tools, I can see why I disagree, but I can see why they have money. Because he is. Will Levis, if he gets into the NFL, he's the ball over a lot because he is a turnover machine. Bryce Young very successful in the NFL because even though we've seen him with more talent than most teams that he plays, there has been times where Bryce Young has to, the talent's not helping him out. Receiving wise, it's probably been, first receiving room in terms of production that we've seen in the last 5 years for Alabama. And Bryce Young has had moments where instead of, Judy or Ruggs or somebody or Devontae Smith being open or turning a small gain into a big one, Bryce Young has had to rely on his for the receiver instead of the other way around. And that's why I think that he's going to turn out well. C.J. Stroud, I think he's a certified bust. Certified bust.
I mean, he's had so much talent around him that you got to take that into account. I really don't think much of C.J. Stroud. He might be good. He might not. Is he significantly bigger than Bryce Young?
I honestly don't know C.J. Stroud.
I mean, he doesn't come off as a guy who seems like he's enormous, I mean, if C.J. Stroud can be number 1 quarterback, but Bryce Young, you're worried about size, seems like you're kind of just... Is he 6'3"? How much does he weigh, though?
218.
Oh, well, he does have some pretty good size to him, then.
He does.
Man, maybe certifiable bust. Maybe we got to chill out on that one. Still, there have been a lot of guys that have been 6'5", 6'4", whatever. There's a lot more into it than just height. I mean, if you've watched Bryce Young, that guy can make any throw on the field, and he can do it flat-footed. I mean, the amount of throws I've seen him going backwards or not even getting able to throw into it that he puts on the money, sometimes so good that it goes right through his receiver's hands. I don't know how you could look at that guy and everything he's accomplished and go, yeah, but I think Will Levis has the better frame. Who cares? Will Levis openly admitted he puts mayonnaise into his coffee. That is going to be a significant health problem, dude.
And then
What?
And then demonstrated it. Then actually
Yeah.
did it.
And it doesn't mix. It's disgusting, dude. You can't have a guy drafted in the top 10 that is actively squeezing mayonnaise into his morning beverage. Will Levis eats mayonnaise for breakfast and is ranked ahead of Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young because Bryce Young's only 6 foot.
I don't like the way you described any of that, but
He
it's
eats
true.
mayonnaise for breakfast. Am I wrong?
I just hit.
Maybe sometimes for a post-meal dessert. You go to those fancy places. Would you like some coffee after your dinner? Oh, yes, please.
We
Could
got
you
some
bring the
frozen
Hellmans
custard.
with you as well?
We got frozen custard. Do you guys freeze your mayonnaise here? You got a frozen
Just give me a
mayonnaise pop?
spoon. Yeah, that'd be great.
I should
I
tell
don't
you
know.
what. Here, squeeze some mayonnaise on this spoon. Put it in the freezer, and then when I get done with my meal, bring me that frozen spoon of mayonnaise.
I think Bryce Young's can go. I don't know.
I think the
Definitely.
quarterback class, the first round quarterback class that we're talking about here right now, is a disaster in the NFL. Other than Bryce Young, he will be a bust. Will Levis, I don't think would have been a perfect like Bailey Zappi pick somewhere in the middle round. But him being in the first round is ridiculous. Anthony Richardson, I'm sorry, talent, but that dude is way too raw of a talent to be predicted and to take a first round flyer out on him. No shot.
I mean, look at Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts had about the same kind of passing ability coming out of college. Probably better though than Anthony Richardson. That guy
Way
fell to
better.
what,
Anthony
52
Richardson
overall,
has
second
a
round.
cannon of Anthony Richardson has a cannon of an arm. He doesn't really use it very well.
And
He's
so
not
does
very
Joe
accurate.
Milton.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I like he's got a good arm in terms of strength, but as a passer, he's not. And I don't like the Jalen Hurts comparison because I think Jalen Hurts, even though he struggled, was a way better passer in college and got better every year that he was there.
Well, I'm not comparing him. What I'm saying is, I mean, Jalen Hurts was a guy that won a lot of games and did a lot in college, and he fell all the way to the second round and was drafted to be the backup to Carson Wentz. And maybe if Carson Wentz doesn't work out, we'll try out Jalen Hurts. I mean, he was a project for sure. He's become a much better quarterback just from last year to this year. And so for Anthony Richardson, if you're going to take him top 10 when a guy like Jalen Hurts falls to 52,
Ridiculous.
you're really getting lofty there. I don't know.
So hear me out.
But I think the success of Tua and Jalen Hurts though is helping the case for Bryce Young.
I agree.
If that makes any sense. Because sometimes when Alabama players go out there and stink it up, it kind of hurts the guys at that position next because you think, oh, they're just the benefactor of having great talent around them all the time. Alabama's an all-star team. They're just kind of, benefiting off that. Where, Tua was looked at as a bust. No good. The guy's having a hell of a year. Jalen Hurts, drafted in the second round, looked at as, maybe you could do something with him. Arguably the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And it's not like those guys didn't have their issues going into the draft. I think Bryce Young has way less than those guys. A great passer, great instinct, just doesn't quite have, the prototypical frame. But to say Kyler Murray does is, what are these guys
sit there and say
about?
he doesn't have a frame of a Kyler Murray. What that's supposed to mean? Kyler Murray's like the same size.
The guy who looks like a little kid who stole his parents' keys. Nah, I think he's gonna be all right.
He weighs 195 pounds.
The guy doesn't watch film. The guy with a homework clause. That guy.
I don't want to make Kyler Murray mad, but I'm sure he's probably, it might be double XP weekend, so he's probably on COD right now. So
I think it is double XP weekend because I got the new Call of Duty after I saw all those Kyler jokes, and the fiance's out of town this weekend, so I've just been playing Call of Duty pretty much strictly with my free time. And I could see where I could see where you'd have a difficult time paying attention to other things,
So let's say you had to there was a quota that you had to meet in the NFL draft this year where 3 quarterbacks had to be selected in the first round. Who would you say those quarterbacks should be? Compared to what Mel Kiper is saying they will be this year? Because I think Bryce Young.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
I don't know who I would put at number 3, But if we're talking if we're going to take a flyer out on Will Levis, if we're going to take Anthony Richardson that high, why not, instead of those two guys, even though he's a little older, why not take a flyer out on a Hendon Hooker?
Bingo. I mean, what does the guy have to show you? Like he's been significantly more effective than Will Levis. He took Will Levis's team out to the woodshed last week, beat him up, dude. Okay,
Will
I
Levis
mean,
3 picks in that game against a really bad Tennessee.
I don't get it. Yeah, and meanwhile, Hooker's just looked at as like,
A system
he's
quarterback.
fifth. He's fifth behind Richardson on Mel Kiper's quarterback board.
He's looked at as a system quarterback. And he's not going to get the respect that he deserves, but I think he should. Now, do I think he is a first-round quarterback? No. But if you're going to say Anthony Richardson is, I think you should say Hendon Hooker is, because Hooker has the right attitude. I think that dude's written in his off time. He wrote a children's book.
Hendon Hooker did?
Yeah.
The guy's an author?
Yes.
Hold up.
Look it up. Hendon Hooker children's book. Look it up.
Is it good? Do you have it for your kid?
I have not bought it yet. I'm going. You know what? We'll do that. We'll buy it. We'll put it on the stream. I'll read it to him on stream.
Hendon Hooker, the ABCs of Scripture for athletes. Wait, what? ABCs of Scripture for athletes who are really young. I'll take it. Whatever. That counts. That's a book. That's a book.
Absolutely, it's a book. So,
do you think maybe Mel Kiper looks at that as like Hendon Hooker's Call of Duty? He's too busy over here writing children's books. He's not watching film. Is that getting in the way?
I just think Mel Kiper. I mean, it feels like he has to have an agenda with Will Levis.
It hit me. It just hit me. Mel Kiper, you've heard the rumors about Mel Kiper, right? That he eats his pizza. He rips all the cheese off and just eats like the crust part and then dips it into mashed potatoes. And that's how he eats pizza, which really isn't pizza. I don't know what that is anymore. And then he eats a slice of pumpkin pie every single day of his life.
Yeah, that Mel Kiper. That starting to make sense with Will Levis's weird food habits.
Gross eating habits. He sees a guy with gross eating habits and says, that's my kind of guy. You're going up the big board.
This
and
is
as
the
a
kind
rational
of guy,
human being, we sit back and go, this is insanity.
This is the kind of right here. I don't know if you remember this, but this is from an excerpt from an article. At the time, people accused Kiper of being biased since he shared the same agent, Gary Wichard. But Mel Kiper dug his, making the infamous proclamation on ESPN, quote, "If Jimmy Clausen is not a successful quarterback in the NFL, I'm done." We're still listening to that guy. We're still listening to this guy.
Ship is setting sail, buddy.
Number one, he was wrong. And number two, I mean, you can immediately question his integrity. Why are we?
Look, they've been trying to get Kiper out of there for years. What's McShay? What's his top five? I'm a McShay guy.
Yeah, I like McShay. I feel like he gets walked on a lot because of Kiper, but I'm a big McShay. So.
Well, big weekend, buddy. Big weekend.
He woke up.
Big stakes. Which, by the way, I would like steak on my Danger Witch, if that's okay.
See this? Look at this.
I can't see that. You froze on my side a little while ago. You're still going on the stream, but you were...
He's just laying there looking at me. We'll say bye. Here, let's let him say bye. Come here, big man. Come here, big man. I know you're still sleeping. Oh! We'll say bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Mr. Ricky. Say bye-bye, everybody. You ready to end this thing?
Let's go ahead. Send us out.
All right, everybody. It's a little after 3 o'clock on a Monday when Ricky treats me to a Danger Witch because Georgia wins against Tennessee. Until then, that's Tricky Ricky. This is Oliver. I'm Tony Mack.